Thank you so much, Associate Professor Ziad, for joining me on this wonderful interview. You might be exhausted, really, because you've had two sessions today. And so thank you. We really appreciate
Pleasure.
that. Firstly, I would like to, for the awareness of the people watching this interview, I want you to talk about your institution, the institution you work with, and what's your role in this institution and some of the achievements you've actually, made in this institution.
Assalamu alaikum, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you for the invitation to discuss some of these matters. So, of course, I operate at two levels. One is at the institution and then is the private consultancy. The institution is INCEIF University. INCEIF University is set up by the Central Bank of Malaysia way back in 2005. It is a postgraduate institution specializing in Islamic finance. All it has been doing is Islamic finance, and we only, issue certificates on or teach on masters and PhD, and some professional certification. My work there, I'm an associate professor there. My specialization is in Sharia, typically Islamic jurisprudence methodology, usul al-fiqh, and then Islamic law of contract, which is fiqh mu'amalat, and then social finance. In social finance in 2017, soon after I joined, I set up a unit on social finance, Islamic social finance at INCEIF, with the objective of providing consultation, research, and training on the topic. By 2019, we had the go-ahead to develop another key project, which was the Executive Masters in Islamic Finance. And that was my responsibility to develop the entire program. And one of the elements was to include Islamic social finance as a core element of the IMIF program. So drafted the modules and the structure and curriculum for the course. And it's a very unique course internationally. It's one of the, as far as I know, it's the only course that actually teaches all aspects of Islamic social finance practically. And also we bring in the practitioners who are currently involved in it. As far as further achievements from that center goes, we have developed an MBA program and made social finance as the core curriculum of the MBA, so it's compulsory module. And then in addition, we conduct a lot of research and consulting to some of the major, biggest organizations in the world, like the Red Cross, Red Crescent, and its national bodies, as well as organizations under the United Nations, Mercy Malaysia, and several other, multilateral multilateral charity organizations internationally, where they integrate Islamic social finance. We give them advice or structure their products for them.
I mean, this is wonderful, and you've really done a lot. I see that the key thing from there is the social financing, because it's kept repeating social financing, social financing. So I want to ask you, before coming to this conference, really, when you saw the topic, let's say, what were your first thoughts when you saw the theme of this conference towards just transition? What were your thoughts?
So for me, towards a just transition, really in the sustainability terminology, is to ensure that we are transitioning fairly in a net zero environment. And that transition has to take place adapted to the environment. One key element that came to mind was that I hope Nigeria is not going to consider cutting and pasting European and Western approaches to net zero or a transition, because that is not Nigeria. Countries have to adapt and customize according to their own challenges and context. So this is what I was hoping for, that we would be discussing here, and alhamdulillah we have discussed the customized approach to a just, and this is what a just transition is really all about.
Great. So do you see the just transitioning from the perspective of the net zero? You're talking about this sustainability, or do you see it from, transitioning from, a conventional to an Islamic financing world?
So that's a good point. Of course, when you talk about transition, there are so many elements. One as what is the part of the terminology of sustainability is the net zero argument. However, the discussion of transition is also moving from conventional into offering a dual banking system with non-interest banking. It is also moving into a more efficient, institutionalized version of social finance, and that is a transition in itself. So one may understand from the Nigerian context that transition here really just means growth, and that growth in all aspects of the financial sector must be fair, such that it does not benefit only the wealthy or only the poor, but it needs to be just and moderate in all approaches, and that includes net zero, social finance, sustainability, issues around governance, and issues, of course, primarily around the environment.
Great. I think thank you so much, Doctor, for that. But I just think about this. When we throw this word sustainability all around, sustainability, but not everybody understand what that word really means. And I want you to discuss that just briefly, and also looking at the Islamic way of looking at sustainability, because we know sustainability from the conventional way. But what does Islam say about that? Just briefly, if you may. I know it's
a huge topic, but I'll keep it very brief.
Great.
First, there is this misconception about sustainable business and business sustainability. These are two different terminologies. And I recall examining a PhD thesis where one of the examiners actually looked at sustainable business and interpreted it as business sustainability, which means your business exists for the long term. That is not what we are talking about when we discuss sustainability here. Here, sustainability is ensuring responsible use of resources in a way that reduces, or at the very least stays neutral on carbon greenhouse gas emissions. So this is the circular economy that ensures there is no waste, and every aspect of production is used efficiently to produce something else as a byproduct. The Islamic version of sustainability is something that has already been clear in the Quran. The Quran talks about the deputization, and deputization does not mean a representation of Allah on earth. Rather, it is a trusteeship of Allah's creation and resources on earth, and that's very different.
Yeah.
So sustainability is amana. Sustainability is also the aspect of tazkiyah. Tazkiyah, in the original sense, may talk about purification of the soul, but in the sustainability sense actually talks about the development and growth of society and its environment. So this tazkiyah is about harmonious growth over the long term. That's sustainability. Sustainability is also ihsan in the Sharia. Ihsan is the third level that's discussed in the famous tradition of Jibreel, where Islam is the original article of faith, believing in the oneness of Allah and the final messenger. Then it's Iman and the articles of faith, and then it's Ihsan. And Ihsan is the true recognition that Allah is observing and will hold you to account for every action. And that is sustainability in Islam. Then, to end off, sustainability is actually protecting the 5 key aspects of the maqasid, or the objectives of Islamic law, and that's ensuring that life is protected, irrespective of faith, ethnicity, or race. And the faith itself is protected. That means that it's a multicultural protection. Everyone should be protected to, and there is no compulsion in religion, so everyone should be allowed to practice their beliefs as long as it does not cause harm on another. And then you have wealth and lineage and intellect. All of this is part of the sustainability discussion in the Sharia, which is very deep, and it's very precise, and it's very well known. Unfortunately, because of the lack of measurables and KPIs, we end up adopting a Western or an alternate culture or an alternate system that we now have difficulty, actually implementing and applying.
I must thank you, because I know that question you cannot actually deal with it on this on just one interview, but actually we will be having series of these interviews. But on the last note, I believe that you've witnessed and you've listened to different people today. And what will you advise in terms of companies or individuals seeking for just transition financing? What I mean, green financing, alternative financing as well. So if you're a company looking at doing things right, what do you think, where do you think they should, start from? Or if you are an organization not thinking about it yet, but you're having the hunch to do so, where do you think they should start from?
Literacy is the primary component of understanding green sustainability and responsibility. It does not mean that you have to look for a bank or look for an investment house that will be able to structure your financing yet. Because as you say, there's this initial transition of your own business into a responsible business. That means literacy. That means gain the knowledge and the awareness. There are tons of online courses available. There's YouTube videos. There's a lot of opportunity to learn and get the basics of what sustainability is all about. That is a responsibility. That is an essential. Before you even go out and venture into drawing up strategies or seeking finance or looking for green sukuk, all of that is in its place. But once you understand the basics, you will create a sustainability culture within your organization. And then you can move forward. You don't really need to interact or engage with huge financing first. You need to actually increase your knowledge first.
All right. Thank you so much, Producer ZIYAAD. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to having you on the other time or the other interview.
Thank you for the
so much.
opportunity.
Thank
Shukran.
you.